All right, all of you freedom-loving boys and girls, I've got a new intro for today that a customer just texted me. This is DJ Marky Mark, I guess. DJ Marky Mark. Hey, Centerline Systems are live. As my kind of little thing, we're going to talk about the medical deployment pouch that we make for BlackScoutSurvival. But just to kill a little bit of time, like I always do, little stories or jokes. It's April 1st, so it's April Fools. I don't have any April Fools, but like DJ Marky Mark, I've had this individual, and you know who you are, sir, sent me a whole bunch of jokes because I do like jokes. So just to kill a little time, we're going to do a little jokeage here. What's the best gift you can give? A broken drum. No one can beat it. You ever tried archery blindfolded? You don't know what you're missing. Yeah, they're really corny dad jokes, but that's what we're doing just to kind of get it kicking here in a little bit. Like I said, DJ Marky Mark. And here we go. We're going to talk about med kits. Well, actually, before we do that, let me just do a couple other things, little housekeeping. Somebody in one of the last live streams saw this. I'll stand up here. They saw this hanging up behind me. It's my shop apron. So here's going to be, now this tool section up here is more for my stuff. But that quite, it's got a big kangaroo pouch, adjustable neck. And then on the side, well, the microphone's going to be in the way. But then it's a side release buckle that you can adjust it. But somebody said, hey, dude, what is that? That looks cool. That could be kind of neat for barbecue. So, leave a comment below whether you're watching this live or whether you watch this on demand. If you guys want, maybe we will. Maybe we'll do a limited run. Maybe we'll make 10 aprons because barbecue, well, for some of us, you barbecue even in the wintertime, but barbecue season is upon us. So got this spiffy little apron. Then the only other thing I wanted to do on housekeeping before we get into it, and if you can hear in my voice, I've been fighting off a cold on and off for days now. But so this is going to be a shorter one just because I'm not feeling super great. But I also did want to mention we're not going to do a live stream this Thursday because this Thursday is the last day for our Mission Critical podcast. But going forward in the future, and again, leave me your comments and tell me what you think on this. What I'm going to do going forward in the future, because there's still an itch, I got to scratch it. But instead of doing like, what we did at Mission Critical podcast, I think about every 2 weeks, I'll do some kind of live stream class, right? And because there's just a whole bunch of stuff that people should be just learning now or knocking off the cobwebs and getting, your muscle memory back on stuff, now more than ever. And especially with spring, summer, and fall coming up in front of us, if you're going outdoors and stuff. So and that kind of ties in tonight. We'll just jump right into it. That's a good segue, Mark. Oh, well done, sir. So we'll do some classes and some of that might be medical in nature too, because that's what we're going to talk about. So, somebody actually, hang on a second, guys. Yep. Let me do that. And I've got a comment. I apologize. I got to get that up there. Gene from across the pond. Hello, sir. Yes, indeed. Woo. But medical, it isn't just the tactical cool guy. Everybody should know some medicine. So even in the military, your basic infantrymen, you're learning a lot of just basic, and that's, again, that's a little bit more combat related, right? But some of the other stuff isn't, like heat casualties, hypothermia, but that's stuff that the trials and tribulations of a, ground pounder always has to deal with. But it doesn't have to be what you might perceive as cool guy or tactical or anything like that. And anytime you go out in the woods, you should have a medical kit with you and you should have some basic medical training. Some of the stuff I'm going to show you will be a little bit, like, well, that's a huge medical pouch. And so just by way of background, when I jump into this, so my time in the military was my time in the military. Everybody has, their own individual first aid kit in the military. Then my time in the agency, we had more robust, like this is the pouch I used, no joke. And this, because we didn't really have a medic with us. Everybody had that level of training. So me personally, and this is years ago, it's not up to date anymore, but I went out and became an EMT. I went and got an EMT certification, then all my military training, and then a lot of more robust, kind of more combat related training, combat medical training in the agency as well. So again, it doesn't have to be that though, right? If you're going out in the woods or if you're in a deer stand or whatever it is that you're doing, I mean, the ability for Mother Nature to rear its head and bite you in the ass and leave you crippled or injured is very great. So I highly encourage medical training. Let me just kind of take a quick pause and Here we go from Daniel. I'll show this here. Daniel says, I wish you would sell via Amazon as I live in France and I don't like paying customs. Yeah, I hear you right there. I don't even know what you pay in customs, but that VAT is kind of crazy. But Amazon is also crazy. And I hate to say it, I don't think I'll ever sell on Amazon, Daniel. So sorry about that, sir. Apologies. And then Gene. 10 p.m. UK time is great. Shop apron looks cool. And any class you teach, I am in on, please. All right. Well, so if we do that, it'll be about every 2 weeks, give or take. It'll be kind of just random. I'll throw some stuff out there, whether it's on social media or during one of these lives, talk about the subject. And then I think for doing that, because, you know, these will take a little bit longer. And, you know, teaching a class this way isn't my preferred technique, but, you know, you're going to have to allocate, you know, between 2 and 3 hours. So I think we'd probably start that, you know, 1600 Central Time, you know, a little bit earlier. So Gene, on that note right there. All right. And then we've got Elf in the house saying hello. All right. Thank you, sir. All right. Let's kind of jump right into it. So let me take a sip here first. I'm telling you, I don't know. It's just crazy. So this was, no joke, this was my pouch. I use it for something different now, but this was my, well, I mean, it's still medical, but I don't carry this anymore, right? But I had a very robust medical kit when I was downrange. And, you know, and no offense to, I don't remember who makes this, but, you know, it's just a zipper pouch with, you know, some attachments inside, and there's a couple little straps to help keep some things organized. But I'm not a big fan of zippers. Zippers are always what breaks. But then, oh gosh, I don't even know what this was now. Jack, I apologize, from BlackScoutSurvival, because we make this with Jack. I think it was 5 years ago, 5 or 6 years ago, Jack reached out and said, hey man, let's make a medical kit. And immediately I was like, okay, I'm into that. That makes sense. But you know, I want to make it and design it the way that I wanted my kits, but there was no such thing like that, you know, when I was running around doing that stuff. So this is what we came up with right here, right? So this one's actually from my Y harness. This is my hunting medical kit. You know, this is what I take with me every time I'm hunting, because, you know, you think about it. Do you need a gunshot wound? If you're really more concerned about boo-boos and, you know, sprains and things like that, because maybe you're like playing a sports or whatever. So I actually have 2 kits. So this is my hunting kit that stays for when I go hunting. Then I have a more general, you can see it right there, a more general purpose medical kit. So it's just loaded with some more general purpose medicine. And this is my MMP, and this gets strapped to one of my seats, and that's always there. So if there was a crisis or emergency, you know, I'm just throwing my shoulder strap, and then this has got all of my get home stuff on it right there. So I've got this one in my vehicle, plus I still have my old medical CLS bag, Combat Lifesaver bag, not Centerline Systems. I wasn't making gear when I was 17, but I still got my old Combat Lifesaver bag. So I actually have 2 medical kits in my vehicle, but this is the one I carry on me. And then, so let's just kind of start from the back and we'll come around the front. Let's just see if we got any comments here. We have one that's got to get shared. Yes, Scamazon. I couldn't agree with you more. But, you know, look, you know, sometimes you got to use what you got to use, and Amazon is out there, but it sure as hell is not cool for small business. So the back of the med kit, right? So it's Molly. So you can Molly it to a rucksack, Molly it to another device. And you can see I've strung my Molly and missed the first row. So that way I can run it through the belt. I run it actually through the loops of my Sherpa belt on my Y harness. There's also a belt, a more dedicated belt loop in the middle. So, but that's going to, I like mine to ride down a little bit more. You put it here, it's going to ride middle. And if you wove this differently and you did it here, then it would ride high. So you got a couple different ways you can attach it. And then you can dictate if you want it to ride high or you want it to run low. Then you can see on the side. Now this probably won't show up as well because it's black on multicam black. But you can see that's a TQ at the tourniquet right there. So there's elastic enclosures on the outside. So you can run a couple different types of tourniquets up there. And then on the opposite side, you've got a dedicated shear holder, right? So it's just a little, we call this grip on a stick. I don't know why, dumb name, but when we're making it, this is grip on the stick. So it just undone, you know, comes undone. And now I can pull my shears off. So that was two things I wanted to be able to do that I couldn't do when I was running downrange. You could always put your tourniquet on, and that's what most people did, cap it up on a shoulder or somewhere in the center so they could get it with either their right or left hands, depending if their right arm was injured. You still want to get it with your left arm. You know what I'm talking about? But I wanted to have that stuff on the outside. And then the other most important thing that I really like about our med kit, and there's some people copying it, and if you're one of those people, you know who you are, I get, what do they say? Flattery is imitation is that one of the highest forms of flattery. Well, it also could just be some cheap ass come up with your own ideas kind of stuff too. But and then I'm sorry. And then there's Velcro on the outside, so you can put your med patch on there, and then you can see. So now I'm going to kind of get into some of the other things. It's got to be high visibility. So I really wish we could make this in orange. We did make these in a red for a while, a barn red, but it's really hard to get 500 denier blaze orange. I'm having a hard time with that. I literally have to order 10,000 yards of it to get it. So I've got to keep trying to see if I can find some other small business owner like me who got his hands on a couple 100 yards. But so we might bring orange back because you want it to be high vis, right? Now if you are doing it more on the tactical and the hunting side, right? So maybe that blends in, but red is a good color. If you look at Roy G. Biv, red is one of the first colors that washes out in the light spectrum, but you can still see it, right? So gross motor skills. And this is why I don't have a zipper, right? And this is one of the reasons I don't like zippers. Always break. That's just my bad luck. And maybe I have bias against zippers. Well, there it is. But what I also like is I want big, fat, gross motor skills. I'm under duress. I might be injured. My kid might be injured, whatever the situation is. So I want big, fat, gross motor skills. So I want to be able to just get that and get that open right away. And then right off the top, you see that another high vis and just a little inside baseball. This square right here, I totally got the idea. So when I was stationed in Germany, nuclear, biological, and chemical warfare, this was the height of the Cold War. That was a really big deal. So you were constantly gas, and putting on your mask. And for any of you 1980s and 90s, veterans, 70s, 80s, and 90s, you'll know those tabs to when you got your mask on, you're clearing it, and then you pull your hood on. Well, when you're grabbing the securement or the attachment strings, whatever you want to call it, they were really hard to get. Now you're looking through your pro mask and you can't see crap. So, I don't know if it was my original idea or somebody else. Maybe it was one of my squad leaders. I can't remember, but we just took 100-mile-an-hour tape, taped it on the outside of it in a big fat square like this. So again, under duress, I can just grab right here and I'll immediately feel that big square and then I can pull it tight. Well, this isn't to pull it tight, but what we did is I wanted you to be able to have, again, a very easily recognizable, very easily found. It's always, when you're open this, your hand is going to be peeling back like this, and this is going to fall right into your hand. It's a big fat tube, right? Even if you're wearing gloves, you're going to find that. And I'm a little hesitant to do all of this because, I don't want to, but the other thing about it is, so unlike this pouch or this style pouch, it has to be opened all the way up and then you have to go through it. This is designed that under duress, all you have to do is grab this. We call them a deployment tab. You grab this and you'll see it happening right now. Yeah, see? Ah! Oh, hopefully I didn't end the podcast. Still going? Still going? Where are we? Yeah, okay, still going. There. I couldn't see it. I'm like, oh, sorry about that. I freaked out. I was looking to, okay, where's my counter thing? Yeah, okay, we're still going. That's why I didn't want this to fall and thought it almost did. But so you're pulling this and all of the contents of your med kit are now then being pulled up. And then they're either coming out into your hand or they're falling right, on the ground right next to you because you might be kneeling down right next to your victim, whoever that is. Not your victim, but, the injured party. Let me rephrase that, right? But it allows you to get all of this gear out and to do so very easily, right? And now the contents are out, right? However you want your contents. And then all you're doing to put it back in, you'll see how that, yep, you can kind of see that goes all the way down below and back up. So when you do that and you put your contents back in, you've charged it back and now it's back in a position where you can just grab it and then just start pulling out. And by the way, so again, that was I'd never seen that before. When Jack was talking to me about let's make a med kit, You know, we wanted to put our real world experiences, and this is something I always wanted my med kits to be able to do, was this deployment tab, right? And once I told Jack about it, you know, I'm like, hey, let's do the deployment tab, kind of like what we do on those EDC belts I make for, and he's like, oh, hells yes, that's a great idea. Gross motor skills, because, you know, either you're injured, somebody you know and love is injured, maybe it's a stranger who's injured, but in either case, you know, even if you have a lot of experience, it still can be freaky, right? And you've got to have your fine motor skills might start dissipating, right? Kind of depends on your level of training. Like fighter pilots have good fine motor skills under duress, but they also spend thousands upon thousands of hours flying in an aircraft to perfect that, so they can do those fine motor skills. Same with the surgeon, right? But now most of those surgeries are done in a controlled environment. You seeing blood or seeing somebody you care about injured for the first time, you might start freaking out, and, you know, your vision starts coming down. That's why I call it the soda straw, and you start looking through the soda straw. So big, fat, gross motor skills, because that's what you have to rely upon. There, it opens up. You can see right there, it was almost right in my hand right when I did it. And then you can just grab that, give it a yank, and then the contents are going to come out into your hand or right, you know, on the ground right next to you where you're about to perform first aid. You know, hopefully not life threatening first, or not, you know, life saving first aid, but first aid. And then just some other little things. Hopefully it'll show up a little bit. So up on the front, you've got, this is a big pouch that's separated into 3 other little pouches. So think decompression needle, think gauze. You know, you can see I've got a tampon in there. You know, yeah, I make fun of it, but it actually is it works. I've got a couple spots that are open because I got my shears on the outside, and then I got a set of gloves. So you could put all kinds of other things there. You want to put a Sharpie in there because maybe you're worried about a tourniquet or whatever the case is, or you want to be able to write down on a medical card, you know, so maybe put a, you know, another device in there, like I said, or a decompression needle or your morphine kit or whatever it is, you know, you do you, contingent on your circumstances. All right, boys and girls, that was 16 minutes. Sorry if I'm going a little fast. I don't know if you can kind of hear it. I'm trying to outrace, trying to stay in the fight as long as I can. Here, let me take a sip. All right, I got a couple comments here. Gene says, yes, buddy. Gene, I don't even remember what the hell I was talking about when you said that. So maybe yes, buddy, but give me a little bit more on that. And then we got a comment here from L3553. I know who you are, sir. I know who you are. In regards to the apron, I left you a comment on one of your griddle breakfast videos. Actually, that's where I saw that, and that just popped up. So first pick of colors. I cannot argue with your logic, sir. Yeah. So, so yes, you did make that comment, and you have a great eye. So yeah, you can have your first pick of colors. But I think if we do it, we're going to do a limited run. Maybe we'll do 5 of one color and 5 of another. I'm not sure. Let's just see if we get enough interest. But Elf, yeah, if you're interested, we'll definitely make you one. You did have the eye, so keep me in the loop on that. And then Gene, in regards to the sound missing, is my sound off now? No, it can't be because I'm getting thumbs up. So Gene, you're messing with me. You're already messing with my already slightly addled brain because I'm old and I've got a cold. Oh, that rhymed and I didn't even know it. But all right. Hey, I really kind of think that's going to be it. Oh, no, I'm sorry. There's another thing. So if some of you might know, so Jack, Black Scout Survival, he just moved his whole warehouse, right? So, and look, and that takes time. My other buddies, Fog Firearms, they had to move too. I mean, like, and I'm going to probably move this summer. So yeah, sometimes when you move, it takes a little while to get back up. So these have not been on his website for a little while. They're back up there now. I just talked to him over the weekend. And they are back up on his website. He's now in his new warehouse, and so he can start doing everything again. So we make these exclusively for him, so you get them off his website. And it makes sense because he also sells a medical insert. So if you don't have your own items, or if you don't want to tailor it to you specifically, and you want to have a good, robust, general purpose insert, he works with North American First Aid, North American Rescue, correction, I think is what their real name is. He works with North American Rescue, and they've got an insert that goes with it, and most people buy that way. If you really want to get one tricked out in our kind of our standard centerline systems, you know, we can modify it and do different colors. Well, just ping me, shoot me an email, and I'll just work something out with Jack. Because normally, you know, on his website, it's here's multicam, here's Coyote Brown, here's Ranger Green, it's that kind of stuff. But if you want to do those unique color combos, then just reach out with me, and then I'll just work out a deal with Jack, and we can make that happen. So they're back up on his website. That's where you got to get them. If you want a special ordered one, you know, with some tweaks, ping me. I'll clear it with Jack. We'll work internally on how to make that exchange work out, and then we'll throw you in our work order process for that. But I really love it. It's a really nice compact size, even if you are using more robust, whether again you're military, law enforcement, you know, fish and game, you know, if you're, you know, or like outdoors all the time hunting. There's a lot of room in this for a very robust medical kit, you know, without having to go all the way up to like EMT bags and boxes and stuff like that. There's a lot of stuff you can cover here. And you know, and I'm just going to kind of end it where I started. It really behooves everyone, in my humble opinion. You got to get some medical training. I mean, you know, go out and just get some basic first aid. You know, most communities offer that at community centers. Get some basic first aid, or talk to somebody in your group if you know somebody who's got some first aid, and just schedule some first aid training. You know, like, I'm not a doctor. I ain't going to tell you what you should or shouldn't do. I mean, some of the things that I was trained to do, I don't think I would ever do here in the civilian world unless it was on somebody who I absolutely loved and cared about, because, well, I mean, just who knows what kind of litigation you could find yourself in. And that's what I'm just kind of getting at. So don't take medical advice from me. You know, get it from somebody you trust, or get it out in your community. But you've got to have some medical training, even if you just, I just only do, you know, 5 mile out and back hikes. Mother Nature doesn't care what you think or how you feel about that. You know, that could be just the time where that grizzly bear, mountain lion, snake, freaking a fisher. Like, here, I'll tell a quick story. This is about 7 years ago. And I was walking through my property, and if you don't know what a fisher is, it's like a cat, but it's the mink and weasel family, but it's kind of large. Pine martens are another way of calling them. But they're ornery, and I was doing a pretty good job, and I saw it before it saw me, and that's a rare thing to do with some animals in the woods. And I saw it before it saw me, and it was hunting, and I'm like, I'm gonna sneak up and ninja up on this guy, and then it finally saw me, and I was close to the tree it was in. And it was chattering at me. It was like letting me know it wasn't happy. And that's when I realized, because I didn't have a first aid kit with me. I didn't have a stick even. I didn't have any weapons. I'm like, that little guy will jump out of the tree and render me useless. He will rock my world, that little small animal. So unless you've got, you know, Wolverine, titanium, you know, whatever, man, most animals will beat most humans unless we have the tools and the resources to, you know, level that playing field or make it advantage humanity. And if you don't, you better have a good medical kit, and you need to know what you're doing with it, plain and simple. All right, let's take a couple questions, and then we're going to start wrapping this up. Okay. Gene just clarified. Yeah, when it dropped. Excuse me. Yeah. Thanks, Gene. But we didn't lose the sound. And then here we got another one. Alf, how about a short live showing the fabric colors you have? Sometimes the pictures just don't show very well. Hey, Al, that's a great comment. I will do that in next week. So we're not going to do a live Thursday, because that's going to be the last video for Mission Critical Podcast. And we're going to start that a little bit earlier, because we're just going to let it go for a couple hours. But I'll do that next week. Alf, I'll throw that in there, and I'll have a bunch of because I actually have that, like what you see on the website. I have all those pieces of material with webbing, and I'll kind of hold those up for the camera, and I'll kind of talk about that. Thank you. That's a great point. I will do that next week. All right, boys and girls, do we have any other questions, any comments? Nope. All right. So if you watch this on demand or whatever, leave a comment. Oh, last thing. So I like doing these lives, but I wasn't able to just directly transfer them to the website. So I'm downloading these, and then I'm re-uploading them to the website, and they will be on the product pages, you know, and as embedded videos for all those product pages. So even if you don't catch the live, you'll be able to go back over and view the video. You know, you can still see the live, but this way I get to put it back up on the website too. So, so I will download this, render it. I'll get it over to the med kit page on the website where you can see the med kit. Still can't buy it from me. You got to buy it from Jack. Again, unless you want to do the specific color combos, then shoot me an email. We can work something out. And then Alf, to your point, next week, I'll have those samples out, those little swaths and I'll show you a couple of the different colors we have and what it kind of looks like. I think it'll look better in this than it does normally. And then last but not least, where I was kind of going, shop apron. Right, and there, Dave Jones just came in and said I'd be interested in a shop apron. All right, so that's a couple people already. So yeah, it's really was a shop apron, but I think if I just tweak this here, and I'll just do this real quickly so you can see it again. Excuse me. So these pockets up here, they're really more designed for, like, I've got a special type of scissors. You might even be able to see my chalk goes in this one when I'm doing chalk. So I would probably make these pouches just a little bit larger so you could put a beer. It's barbecue. You're going to want a beer in there and maybe some condiments. And then it's got the large kangaroo pocket down below where you could also store items. So yeah, leave me a comment in the on-demand version of this, or just shoot me an email or whatever. And I'll keep a little list. And yeah, and then maybe we'll do a limited run of these in the not very distant future. Probably like end of April, we could even do something like that, I bet. So, all right, stay tuned for that. That about does it. And I need to go cough. Hey, so as always, sorry, let me get prepped. By the way, again, I'm not joking. Tonic water and then juice. If you don't like juice, if juice is too sweet for you, cut it with some, well, this is mineral water, but you could use tonic water, I suppose, too. All right. That concludes this live stream. We'll be back again Monday and Thursday of next week. Again, Thursday will be live Mission Critical podcast. Not 100% sure. We'll probably start at 16 or 1700 Central Daylight Time. So sick of daylight time already. Dave Jones or gin. Yes, I don't think I could handle the gin right now, though. So, or maybe that's what I need to get rid of the chest cold. Maybe I should be doing some gin. Dave, you are a doctor. I will take your advice on that. But hey, but no, seriously. So we won't be live this week. Back to being live again Monday and Thursday of next week. You know, as always, if you've got questions or comments, you know, reach out anytime. I'll do the best I can to help you out. And yeah, the woos are already picking up there a little bit. So as always, keep thinking, keep moving, never quit. We'll see you next week again. Everybody be good. Woo!